Hello everyone, I'm back and today I'm going to be talking about recency bias. And not in the usual way of saying that a current driver is better than a retired one. What I'm talking about is people being judged based off one race, or in the case of Ricciardo for this one mostly, one sprint race. We've all heard the saying in sports that you're only as good as your last fight, match, or for F1, your last race. For the first few races, Daniel Ricciardo was terrible. Race and quali pace, both poor. In Japan, he drives into a part of the track without looking and takes himself and Albon out the race. Fast forward to China and Yuki has a terrible weekend all round, and Daniel puts in the first good couple of sessions this season. He gets taken out by Stroll in the race, but it was a good showing from him. So everyone hops on board the hype train, despite 2 weeks ago pretty much everyone calling him washed. Now, in Miami, he does an absolute monster of a job in the sprint qualifying, and then holds off a Ferrari for the entire sprint race, finishing in P4. And it was a great result. The hype train gets more people on board, and all of a sudden Ricciardo's being talked about like he's one of the best drivers on the grid. Then, Saturday qualifying comes around, and he's starting at the back of the grid. Yuki is beating Russell and Alonso, and Ricciardo is in 15th. Some people are jumping off the hype train, and some people saying, oh, it's just one race, you can't judge him off that. When they were literally hyping him up because of one sprint race anyway. And it's not just Ricciardo that this happens with either. Perez finished 4th, and I saw people saying that driving a Red Bull and not being on the podium is unacceptable, which is a brain-dead take. Races are unpredictable, and the people that he was behind was Charles Leclerc, who had a great weekend, Max Verstappen, who is Max Verstappen, and a very lucky Lando Norris, who I'm still buzzing about winning, by the way. But yeah, you can't say that Perez had a bad weekend, because he didn't. He put in a performance that most weekends is good enough for second or third, which is exactly the sort of job that he's wanted to be doing at Red Bull. Guan Yu Zhou is another driver on the positive end of the good last race sentiment, finishing ahead of Bottas for the first time that Bottas hasn't had any major issues during the race. So now all of a sudden it's harsh to say that he's not good enough and he's just being held back by the car. That being said, Alex Albon is now no longer getting any of the love and hype that he was getting last season, and that's just not warranted. I know he finished in the points of quite a few times last season, and appeared in Q3 more often than he should have. He's finished 11th twice and 12th once. Those are ridiculous results when you look at how bad that Williams car is. And it's not being spoken about at all because it's not resulting in any points finishes. When that's just not fair at all. He is outperforming that car massively, squeezing every little bit of performance out of it. And to be quite honest, I half expect people to start saying that Lando is going to win at least 4 races this season with how this hype is working. Because people aren't being judged by their form over the last few races. It's the last race or the last 2 races. Look at the season as a whole. We're not that far in. You can't say that someone's form across the season so far doesn't matter because they did good in one race or because they did bad in one race. That's not how it works. What do you guys predict for the future of Daniel Ricciardo? Let me know in the comments, because to be quite honest, I predict that he'll close the gap a little bit to Yuki, get 4 or 5 points finishes, and then choose to retire at the end of the season if he is slower than Yuki across the season. As always, I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next time.